being held to the standard and knowing what you were trying to achieve, and then you end up being an NCAA champion a few months later.
Yeah.
Do you feel like those practices with those high-level athletes holding you accountable is what helped push you to that point?
Oh, for sure. 100%. There's a very specific workout. Immediately once I got there, we went to Christmas training. So I actually got there Christmas Day. 2 days later, we jump in a van and we head down to Florida. And we did our Christmas training down there. And I remember a very specific set where it was kind of my coming out party where they were like, oh, wow, this guy's for real. So David had us in the diving well, the whole team, at the end of practice. And he said, okay, we're just going to do some elimination races. So you'd start off with all the guys, and there'd be 20 guys in the diving well. You'd swim. And then as you would swim, you'd eliminate people based on if they finish last. So, we're going through eliminating. The group's getting smaller and smaller. And as the group's getting smaller, the guys that are out and the girls that are out, they're screaming for you. And they're picking their favorites. They're like, hey, I want you to win. Or, they're really getting after people. And I noticed, not many people were cheering for me at that point in time. But as we would go down and I'd start to eliminate people, I'd start to get like, I wanted to hear people cheering my name. I'm like, I want them on my side. So I started to get a little bit in the guy's face. And I'm just a freshman at this stage. Like, I'm just the new kid on the block. And I'm talking to some of the some of the seniors, and I'm getting in their face. And so long story short, I end up coming down to the last two. And I can't remember exactly who it was against, but I'm going to say maybe Nick Shackle, because I was, he was the man, and I loved beating him, but it was very rare. But someone like that, So I came down to the last race, and I just remember getting in this guy's face, and like the whole team was like, whoa, and then I win the thing, and I'm prancing around, and so for me, it was like, I love the competition. Like, you put me in a competitive situation, you're going to bring the best out in me. And that's what David did constantly. David Marsh would just put me in situations where I would be put up next to my teammates, and they'd be like, all right, figure out a way to win. And I just love that about Auburn. And that's what it did ultimately. So then, fast forward a few months from then, and we're at the NCAA championships. I remember qualifying for the 50 freestyle second behind Neil Walker, and we line up for the final. And I just look over, and my teammates are going crazy, like they're going mental. And I was just drawing so much energy from that. I just felt like a regular swimmer, but when I looked across the pool, I felt like Superman. I felt like I could take on anybody. And then I just remember looking across at Neil Walker and like, you don't have a chance, buddy, because I felt indestructible. I felt unbeatable. And it was all because of the energy that was my teammates were giving me. If you put me up there by myself, I don't feel that way, and I don't think that way. You put me in a situation where my teammates are like screaming and yelling and carrying on, and I'm like, I could take on anybody at that point in time. So that's what I really loved. I just thrived in that environment.